So we're going to go through the three strategies we've been using for multiplication, and the first one is the traditional one. For the traditional one, you start with the top numbers multiplied by the ones place of the bottom number. So 4 times 7 is 28, 7 times 7 is 49, plus 2 is 51. 6 times 7 is 42, plus 5 is 47. I'm done with the ones place, and I'm done with those two numbers. Before multiplying by the tens place down here, I'm going to put a 0, so I remember that I'm multiplying by the tens place. 4 times 5 is 20. 7 times 5 is 35, plus 2 is 37. 6 times 5 is 30, plus 3 is 33. When I finish multiplying, I add those together, and I have 8 plus 0 is 8, 1 plus 0 is 1, 7 plus 7 is 14, 4 plus 3 is 7, plus 1 is 8, and then 3. So 38,418. The next strategy that we've been using is the partial product strategy. And in this one, we break down the multiplying into place value. So we're going to start with our bottom number in the tens place. If we had the hundreds place, we would start here. But we're going to start here in the tens place with 5. The 5 is worth 50. And we're going to multiply that by the hundreds place of the top number, 600. 50 times 600 is 30,000. And I get that. There's 1, 2, 3 zeros here, and then 6 times 5 is 30 for 30,000. Now, I multiply 50 again times the tens place, which would be 70. And 50 times 70 is 3,500. My last time with 50, and this time I'm going to multiply it by the ones place for 4. So 50 times 4 is 200. Now I'm done with the tens place. I move on to the ones place. I'm going to have the exact same numbers here. So we have 7 times 600, which is 4,200. Notice when I'm writing these numbers, I'm keeping all of my digits lined up. So when I add, I won't be confused. Then I go back, 7 times the tens place would be 7 times 70, which is 490. And I finish with 7 times the ones place, 7 times 4, which is 28. Then I can add those up. We have 8. 9 plus 2 is 11. 1 plus 5 is 6. 8, 10, 14. 1 plus 3 is 4, plus 4 is 8, and then I have my 3. 38,418. And we talked about this with kids. Doesn't matter which strategy you use, you should end up with the same answer. And the final problem that we're going to do, this is called the lattice method. And with the lattice method, we're going to start by making a rectangle. If this is a 3-digit times a 3-digit number, we just make it a square. We start by separating the rectangle into however many columns based on the number of digits in the top number. And same thing, we make rows for the number of digits in the bottom number. So 2 rows for 2 digits, and 3 rows for 3 digits. From there, we make diagonal lines. We have to make sure that our diagonal lines create two triangles in every separate section. Then we go through and we multiply, just like we would on a multiplication chart. This box is going to be 4 times 5. 4 times 5 is 20. Then 4 times 7 is 28. 7 times 5 is 35. 7 times 7 is 49. 6 times 5 is 30. And 6 times 7 is 42. From here, we're going to add all of our numbers diagonally. So in this one, it's just an 8 by itself. Then we have 2 plus 9, which is 11. When we carry, it goes to the next diagonal. 1 plus 2 is 3, 8, 12, 14. And then 1 plus 3 is 4, plus 4 is 8. And our last one is 3. And we have 38,418. I've told the class, whichever method they feel most comfortable with, they can use. The goal is to get the correct answer, not to necessarily focus on one. I'd like them to be familiar with all of them, but find one strategy that works well for them and go with that. I will say partial product, 3-digit times 3-digit, that's a pretty big list you're going to have here. But if that's what they're comfortable with, that's fine with me. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. Have a good evening.